Previously on Love in the Storm, Part 1.
For me, one of our challenges is communication. Like, we're not on the same page. One time, Papu, it was after treatment or something, Vincent was playing the video game. Papu threw up a lot. I am trying to get things. I'm running upstairs, come back downstairs, he's still playing the video game. I get really upset because I'm like, wait a second, did you not see?
So for my defense, I'm just waiting for her to go ahead and do what she normally does. I ask the questions because she wants things done in a particular way, using a particular item.
We had to try to find what worked
for both of
us.
Right.
I was pretty much in the same predicament as you. You know, we were that ones that controlled. Don't look at me like that now. See now, look now. We had shifts, but it came down to sometimes where I was more so full-time shift and he was part-time shift. I was like, okay, can I get a break? He was just like, well, do I have to go? And I'm like, we got to do this for him. As much as I know you're tired.
What happened was when he was going through chemo and stuff like that, I was working in Orlando. So I literally changed my job so that I'm there. So she didn't have to go through all that. That was my concern.
I just wanted the present.
If I get home, let me take a nap and then go over there. I don't have a problem. But then they got to realize they stop you from coming in at a certain time.
So they stop the children from being there at a certain time.
No, they stop me.
Don't get caught up in the
If
line.
your dad is
No. You see, now if you went there enough, then you would have known. All right, y'all. Welcome back. It's your girl, Sheena.
And I'm Luby, and thank you so much for tuning in again. And of course, this is
The Aftermath. It's the Aftermath. Hey.
Get it? Now, Love in the Storm, Part 2.
So our last episode was intense, I may say
It was.
so. All right, we opened up about the rawest parts of our marriages, the arguments, the trauma, and we just let it all out. We had breakdowns, we laughed, we almost cried. Yeah, we almost cried. All right, but sometimes in life, when we're facing cancer and we're battling things in life with our kids going through trauma, we also go through this with our spouses all at the same time. You see, now if you went there enough, then you would have known. Okay, you had miscommunication. That's all, because you don't do the calling. Okay,
Exactly, I don't call nobody.
you don't. You see that's the problem. Now he don't call nobody. He makes sure that the wife do it all. The wife get all the information. But all you got to do is show up and go to sleep. And I
don't have a problem doing that.
Were there nights when you could have gone, but you ended up not going?
Yeah,
No.
then I ended up going.
No.
Because I had an attitude and I walked out the door. There's plenty of nights.
No, there wasn't.
Go ahead now, lie.
There wasn't. You walked out the door, no.
Then we was like, oh.
You was just always pissed off at something.
But don't you think that I was always
I
pissed
could
off?
say what you was always pissed off at, and the reason why, but that's here nor there at this conversation.
See, look. See, now you're telling
Yes,
fibs.
I'm taking the mask off. If you want to.
So
there you go, mask
we're
off.
gonna
There you
take
go.
the mask off.
But that's not
We're
what
gonna
we
take
doing.
the mask
You're not doing
off.
that right now.
It's love.
Bruh. There you go.
Love.
Like I said, like I never had the problem with him going to go to sleep. What the problem was that sometimes I was tired.
Right.
And I always made that time. It didn't matter how tired I was, I pushed.
Sure.
And then when it came down to him, when there was a time moment, maybe I was selfish because it was like I didn't even want you to nap. It was just like, get there to him. I don't want him to be by himself. But you know what? We came to a point where like now we can pretty much look at this and we would just be like, okay, well, like, it was really petty. Because we made it through. We made it through not only him having cancer once, but going through a relapse. And, we still, as a family, stay strong throughout it all.
During the time when you're going through the trauma with Elijah, and, this obviously was a thing. You're wanting somebody to be there to be a companion for him. John not minding, but wanting to, let me rest first, and then I'm going to go. Like, she pissed, but I just got to rest. How did you guys resolve that?
I don't think there was ever a time we ever resolved it at that moment.
Right.
You know, I think more so our resolution came
It came
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
It's
and I
time
think
got-
it
it
was
got- it
just
got
like
better.
things
Yeah, it's kind
was
of
just escalating on
Yeah.
top of each other, and we were always just getting so mad to the
Yeah.
point where it was just like, all right, this is getting bad. You know, we got to sit there, we got to stay strong for the sake of not only him but our
Right.
family, because this is starting to get real. And I think the frustration was just every little thing that could possibly happen to him that was going on. It ended up frustrating, I think, me more, and I think I was more of the attacker, you know, because I was just always in the limelight of it, and I wanted everything to be so perfect for him. He was the first person that I could lash out on. You know, there was no one else for me to turn to besides him.
While we were going through the episode, I mean, I relapsed a bit. Like,
He said I don't relapse a bit.
Like,
Yeah, you feel that way. You definitely do.
I felt like I was put back in that moment so I can relive it again. And it just reminds us that there are a lot of people who are going through it in silence.
That is the truth.
What we wanted to do today is to go deeper into some of these things that we experience.
Absolutely, because surviving the storm is one thing, but rebuilding our marriage is definitely another. And I think we pretty much faced that with everything we've been through.
In the last episode, there was a lot going on. And one of the takeaways from that episode is communication. It was really important for Vincent and I to be able to communicate what we needed from each other so that we can best help our son.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the same thing with me and John. We had our issues with communicating, and that also sat there and deterred us from being able to, safely and securely provide and help our son. But sometimes in life, you have to learn how to just rebuild and take everything by storm.
Yeah. What we see is both Sheena and John, they do a lot. You guys do a lot with apologizing. Even though you guys struggled with the communication, apology, that was one of the things that I took away from this episode. Even though you guys didn't apologize at that very moment.
We got some apology in it. And the crazy part about it is I didn't even realize how much I apologized in the mix, because one thing about me is I'm just not very apologetic at all. But Lou had pointed out to me, she was like, "Girl, you apologize a lot." I was like, "Where? Replay, run it back." Run it back. Do I apologize? Yes, I did. So many times, where, I was just like, sometimes I had to sit back and be like, "Okay, yeah, I know I did. I'm sorry. I apologize." We got to get through this. When it came down to y'all's situation, and it happened, you guys, I think, more so understood it during or more so after?
It was during.
It was during.
You see, now that's a good thing that I realized about you guys, because the difference is you guys went through it and then you got through it in the midst of it. Yeah. I think when it came down to us, we went through it and it took us some time to get over it, and it was just like, I think I had to.
She don't like to say sorry.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
At all. Like, he would be the first person to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to be the bigger person and I'm just going to apologize. And see, me, I just take my stubbornness and my Virgo ways, because yes, Team Virgo always going to be stubborn about it. And I would not apologize. It doesn't even matter if I know I'm wrong. Right. I would not for nothing. Like, it's going to take a lot. So I think what ended up happening is I just kept on letting everything just boil until I was just about to explode. But I think it took the time for me to realize that we're going through a lot right now, and our child needs us more. So I need to sit there and I need to actually be that bigger person.
But it worked, though, for you guys, because one of you guys were willing to be the bigger person.
Yeah, he was.
But initially you were saying that she was the one that was really doing the attacking, and you were just like,
But it's always like that. I always told her, it's okay. I'll take it. It's always been like that between me and her.
Yeah.
She'll lash out, and I'll take it. If you don't get it out and I'm going to fight you for it, we ain't going to be in the spot that we're at.
Yes.
she was able to see that, even though it wasn't something that they did
At that moment.
at that moment, it was something that eventually you guys did. And in doing that, what I also noticed is being able to give your spouse and yourself the space
Absolutely.
to be able to take in what happened, run it back in your head, clear your head so that you can have a better conversation and to, say if you're wrong.
Absolutely. And that's something that actually takes a lot out of me in life too. Because like I said, sometimes I don't even sit back and want to apologize. But now as we fast forward into just the realness of life now, I realize that, if I would have probably apologized a lot more then than I did now, then it would have probably, been a lot easier on the both of us.
I agree.
And one thing that I realized when it came down to Louis and Vincent was you guys were very creative in y'all resolving issues. I mean, you guys mapped it out, okay? If somebody was going to be like Dora and had that map in that backpack, okay, my girl did her thing.
Because we had another situation with Papu's medicine. And there is a specific time that he needed to take certain things. And
you talking about the chart?
So kind of attacking each other on who was responsible to give him the methotrexate or who's supposed to give him the steroid because it's 1, 2, 3 times a day. Our resolution, we created a chart. So we still have it up, actually.
Yeah, so it's inside the medicine cabinet where we kept all this thing. You open it, and then there's this little spreadsheet
with all the
medications, the dosage, the days, and we had the initial.
We got to the point.
What day?
We needed to initial.
Don't miss that. Look, you missed that dose. We gonna know who did.
Because it's not like a check.
Right.
No. And we had to put the time.
Yes.
We had
the time as well.
So that way, if there was a dose that was missing or something, it's just, no, it was, oh, okay, you know what? We ain't got to even argue about this. Let's just open the chart.
Yeah, we just open it.
Let me see. I see. Missing signature.
Jesus.
Signature is missing here. Sometimes I will say I did miss a few doses here and there.
See, look at you.
It was me.
And this is after she already bit my head off.
I did.
She came at me like hard, you know what I'm saying?
But then I apologize.
And you guys made it work, and that was just being very creative in the process of, rebuilding and communicating with each other. And, sometimes in life, we go through things when we go through trauma and health and things with our kids. And some marriages, or spouses take on obstacles very differently. You got to go how you see fit to make it work for the both of you guys.
Right. Find a solution that is going to help you. It may not be something that checks the boxes. You guys will have to probably think outside of the box so you can see what can we do to help us both.
In that situation, yes. And I think that, we did a damn good job getting through it because, here we are again. And we survived. I should not say we survived. Our husband survived that episode with us. And, big thanks and all love to our husbands for being here with us on that last segment. We definitely appreciate them. It was hot and fiery. Okay. And I think the mask did come off.
We were able to stay married.
I know. Look at that, right? Kudos to that. And finally, this is definitely my favorite part of all. It's just the power of the community. Let me tell you something. It takes a village. I always say that when it comes to life and just any obstacles that you face, and it's always just being able to reach out to that community and be able to just get that empowerment. Sometimes you need that, and like I seen with John and Vincent coming together and being able to be that, that backup for each other.
And having multiple conversations with Vincent, and this is after, he was able to express how he really felt about going through everything because he didn't really have anybody that he could talk to about it because then he didn't want to seem weak. In him explaining the things that he went through, I think I found that he took things a lot harder than I did.
Really?
Yeah, and I think he internalized it because he didn't have anybody to release it to. I didn't care who I was talking to. I just, and I just, because there was no society pressure of having to stay strong and being the man of the house or whatever it is, or being over. I'm the mom. I'm allowed to just get crazy, just get upset or whatever it is that's expected. But he could not do that. So he didn't take it light.
And so to add to that, it was a little more difficult because if I'm a wreck and can't see it through, there's no way that she's gonna make it through. Right. So I had to find some way to keep it down,
And make
bottle
light
up,
of things.
make it light, or be supportive, be there, and like, oh yeah, no, the doctor is good. You know, I had to be a certain type of way because I know that she is looking for that. As soon as I fall apart, then we're all going downhill.
Right.
And this was way later, after he's, been a couple years cancer free. Then it came out. Then I started really expressing. This is how I really felt when I was going through it. So it was.
So you pretty much held it all in.
I had no choice but to keep it in.
You know what? And that's just a whole other topic right there. Men talk. Sometimes I think a lot of it boils down to when we have our children and we're going through things. I think it's more so a lot of the moms that talk about it, and I think we show more of our hurt and we express it more. And our husbands, they hold it in. And, I think more so that they hold it in because they're trying to be that strong one.
Absolutely.
And not.
And they don't want to seem weak.
I'm like, hold on now, bro. You about to cry?
No. I was just saying it's totally different because I was able to come and talk to you about it. Like,
yeah.
When
Yeah,
we
that
found out the
was different.
situation, it just hit home to me because I thought I would have been the one that gave it to him, and it was just,
because they say
so
a lot of
devastating.
things is hereditary,
Right.
and it comes down throughout your family, So I think a lot of the times he blames himself, not knowing the depths behind cancer, and I was the one that's like, okay, I can't fall apart because I was the strength of the family, and then he's like, I felt like I had to pick him up, and there was times, where I just had to sit there, and I don't think there was ever a time that someone ever seen me cry through the storm. I think I kept that all in to where it hurt so much. When it did come to that time to let it out, it was rough. It was rough. But I did. Yes, but you know what? I think what ends up happening is that a lot of fathers don't have that support group of men. That's why I was actually real happy when Vincent and John met each other, because it was like you have two husbands, two fathers that gone through the same thing, right, that have two strong wives. High five on that, baby. Okay, and period, and able to connect with each other. And, be able to have an outlet within each other. Yeah. Having to meet with the wonderful organization, Papoose Mouse, with our lovely Luby on hand. Sometimes in life, you need that push. You need that support. You need that motivation to keep you going. Because let me tell you something. You will fall flat on your face if you do not accept that helping hand. So I do appreciate the wonderful Luby and her organization for being there for our family as well.
Thank you. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's really having a support group. I
Absolutely.
guess what you pointed out in the episode, and it really resonates with me, and being able to know that, okay, our organization is doing our part in making sure that everybody gets support. But just going through any trauma, any kind of issues within your marriage or your relationship, one of the key takeaways is finding a support group for you, because the mothers need one, the fathers need one,
the children need one. And that
The
is
children.
absolutely another one. Definitely. Yeah, because, the kids go through it too. The siblings go through it, and when we don't think that they're hurting, trust and believe, they are hurting as well. Seeing their brother or sister go through things like this, it really hurts them a lot.
Yeah. And so we just want to say thank you for tuning in. And we know that these tips that we've shared, they're not magic fixes. They're real steps that help rebuild the marriage to help us go through the storms and rebuild after the chaos of cancer that brought into our family and even our marriages. So if any of the stuff that we have shared with you guys, if it resonates with you, please share this episode, both episodes, with that person, and maybe something in there will help them going through the storm. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, tag us in your stories, subscribe, like, share.
There we go, all the time. That's my girl.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more updates and behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yes. This is actually just the beginning of everything, you guys. We appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. Until next time, with your girl Sheena and Luby on the Aftermath.
Bye.
Bye, guys.